Hi, Neil again. I'm on a survey this morning in Durham. So, I've turned up here. The age of the property is round about, well, according to the data that I've got, is built round about 1960, which looks probably about right. So what I've done is came outside and I've noticed on the front main elevation there are two 9x3 air bricks. There's nothing at this end, so we're lacking an air brick on that end, but we have got a damp proof course. There's our physical DBC, ideally situated 150mm above the external ground level. Now, the reason I thought this was an interesting one, because it's properties of this age where you wouldn't particularly expect to find any significant issues. So I came in, I'll head back inside. And then obviously I've been asked to do a damp and timber survey. They've had a valuation done and it raised the question, it stated that they had to get a damp and timber survey done for mortgage purposes. So as normal, I've came in, identified some loose floorboards, which we can see here. As I say, wouldn't typically expect to find anything significant in a property of this age, type of construction, but it's surprising the fact that there's the lack of air bricks on the external elevation always raises a question as to the condition of the floor. So what I'll do is I'll pop this under the floor. I don't know if you can see on the cobwebs there, you can see water droplets, which indicates that condensation is occurring in the floor, in the subfloor void. And then we swing this round, and I don't know if you can pick it up, just slightly further along there, these cables, there's always a cable in the way. Slightly further along on the joist, we've got evidence of wood boring weevil. I'm going to pop my glasses on so I can actually see what I'm looking at. So just on the edge of the joist, just towards the later field of vision, we've got evidence of wood boring weevil. In this side, it's not too bad. And then obviously we come onto the other side, and again, it's not too bad. There are traces of wood boring weevil. Now, I know I've already posted a video about wood boring weevil. It's a type of woodworm which will only infest timber with a high moisture content, normally associated with timbers that are already affected by fungal decay to some extent. So I lifted a floorboard in the dining area. Obviously, I've said before, the most obvious point you're going to find loose floorboards is next to radiators. So pull the carpet back, and there we are, there's a little hatch there. Now from this hatch, I didn't actually see anything significant, but from that hatch, looking back over to this corner using a torch and mirror, I did actually see that there was more of an issue in this corner. It's what we talk about, so a lot of surveyors talk about, follow the trail. And it's amazing if you see one thing, it leads you to the next. So looking at this, if this was the only hatch I'd looked at, I would have thought it's not too bad, and possibly wouldn't have looked any further if it's difficult to get to other areas. But the fact that from this location, looking diagonally across the room, I could see that there was more of an issue in this corner. So what do? We actually then start taking boards up in this corner, and this is where following the trail pays dividends, because I'll pop this down, we can see the joists there, the under edge of the joist, the lower edge of the joist, and we can see we've got wood boring weevil infestation. You can see the bow dust on the timbers. I would imagine if I give that a tap with a hammer, you can see the dust falling from the timbers. Obviously it's exposing a bit more of the grain where the dust's coming away. And then you look along, you can see that wood boring weevil infestation. You can see a giveaway is the bow dust on the cobwebs. You can see it hanging on the underside, but you can actually see the distinct pattern of where the wood boring weevil infestation is. The reason it'll be concentrated in that area is because that is predominantly sapwood on the outer edges of the timber. Then we swing it round and we've got, let's see if I can get a bit more light in here. You can see the same again. We've got wood boring weevil along the edges of those timbers. And then pop it underneath and you can see the timbers aren't in great condition. You can see the bow dust again on the cobwebs. Now realistically, I've probed the joists and they're generally reasonably sound. You do tend to find the infection or the infestation will be concentrated in the sapwood on the edges of the timber. So sometimes the damage is superficial. If the joist is predominantly made from sapwood, it can be significant. We can see it again there. There's your bow dust. Very distinctive because wood boring weevil, it actually tunnels along the grain. And it looks like, so I always say it, when people recognize it, it looks like somebody shredded the timber with a steel comb, because the insects, obviously they travel along the grain, so you get this shredding effect. But you can see the bow dust on the timber. And what it indicates that the moisture content of the floor joist is very high. Well, I've actually put a meter on it in the 38–40% moisture content. Ideal conditions for wood boring weevil. But, you know, I suppose one of the things I was trying to get across to the less experienced surveyors, it's follow the trail. Look outside, there's obviously a lack of air bricks on the external elevations. So that points that there may well be a problem affecting the internal floors. So you start at the front elevation, that front corner. There's evidence of wood boring weevil there, but not huge, but there is an infestation there. So come here, radiator, take a floorboard up. Obviously there it looks fine. There's not an awful lot to see, but from that point, using a torch and mirror, I could see into this corner. And from that corner, I could see evidence of obviously a far heavier infestation of wood boring weevil. So it's all about following the trail. Yep, if you see something which raises concerns, then obviously follow up on it. Don't just ignore it. Okay, so I hope that helps. And now I'll get back to putting these floorboards down and carpets. Okay, thanks a lot now. Bye-bye.